Good news on your share price, up a short while ago, 5% at 76 cents. Now let's look at the key trouble that you had this time around was obviously rainfall, and market wondering whether there's anything that you can do about that negative rainfall in terms of geographic diversity perhaps.
Bronwyn, no doubt. I think three main factors that affected our results. First being the rainfall, I think that had the most impact on us. And secondly, I think just the general market conditions worsening. And thirdly, the public infrastructure spend paralysis. But as far as rain is concerned, we were quite, our activities quite concentrated around the coal mining areas and the Johannesburg area. And in those areas, rainfall was double what its 60-year average for the same period.
So this is an anomaly. It's a once-off in your opinion, or do you need to look at some geographic diversity?
No, normal rainfall won't affect us, but when you have such exceptional rainfall, it does no doubt affect you. And we would definitely have to, and we've acknowledged that, we would have to look at some form of diversification. To this means we've actually gone, we have offices in the other Southern African countries. We have been bidding there, and I expect in the near future we would be getting active there, yes.
Despite headline earnings per share being down 22.3% for the full year, as I said, your share price is up 5%. I think the market liking the fact that you are paying a dividend. This is your maiden dividend at 4 cents, and it must mean that you're relatively optimistic about the future, given the fact that you have got the coffers to pay a dividend.
Yes, I think we're fortunate in that we have a very, very healthy order book going forward. We're, I think, an order book of 1.1 billion. We have a realistic pipeline, conservatively.
What do you mean by that realistic pipeline? Because I know you're going to refer now to the 1.4 billion rand to 2011. What does the term realistic mean?
Well, we take our work and the work in the pipeline, and we assess what realistically could come our way. In other words, our pipeline as such would be far, far bigger than what we've indicated. But, you know, to be conservative, I think we're in times where we need to be conservative. We look at what we really believe we will be able to land in the short term.
You've said from an economic perspective a tougher impact on the results in the second half. Is the worst over?
No, I wouldn't say the worst is over. I think we've still got to keep our heads down and be very focused. I think we're in for a tough calendar 2010, and I think possibly the market only easing up for us, or our industry only starting to see better times the middle of next calendar year or towards the end of next calendar year. I think it's very important to note that if spending in the infrastructure sector happened, that could change the construction industry around literally overnight.
Group's operating margin sitting at some 16%. The order book that you refer to, and that realistic order book, what margin have you secured that work at? Are we seeing more pressure on operating margin from this point?
Probably there's no doubt there's pressure on that margin. You must understand that everybody came out of, the big players came out of the Middle East, came out of Dubai, out of Africa, because, you know, 2 years ago Africa also started slowing down. Everybody came into South Africa, or a lot more resources came into South Africa. Everybody expecting a bit of relief from this infrastructure spend. That hasn't happened. So as a result, really, the private sector spend is decimated. So people have turned, our industry's turned to the mining spend, and the pressure is on the margins there.
How much more margin pressure do you expect to see? Have you given any guidance on that line, considering, as I say, operating margin now at 16% for the group?
Yes, I think I wouldn't expect that to improve or differ greatly going forward in the near term. I think after that, we could possibly see some margin improvement.
And what about delayed payments from the public sector, and also the deferment of projects in the construction arena from the public sector? Do you think that we have seen the worst of that?
Fortunately, specific to us, we're not very exposed to that, and that spend that we are exposed to is Sanral, who is
how exposed
is very,
from a revenue perspective?
Small. It represents a small part of our revenue, but Sanral, I think, is a very efficient organisation, and so as far as the rest is concerned, we have a bit of exposure in our Readymix division to the late payment and the housing, low-cost housing sector, and I don't believe we've seen the end of it or seeing the end of it. I think it is still a problem out there, yes.